And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another movie review. Today, I am reviewing Wedding Crashers, released in 2005. Stars Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, and there's a few other characters. I've heard about this movie for a long time, but never really gotten around to watching it. It was always a little confusing to me. Some people making references and then all this other stuff. But I finally got around to watching it, and I have to say, there's a new top 10 movie on my list, I think, now with this movie. So just prepare yourselves. I will also point out that I did watch the uncensored, or I guess in this case, uncorked version of this movie. I did not watch the theatrical cut. I watched the uncensored version, and I think having watched the uncensored version, I think that is the way that is the way you should watch this movie. That is absolutely the way you should watch this movie. Because you get the full experience. And with this movie, there's a lot to experience. So I've got a lot of thoughts. Let's just jump right into it. First off, this is a comedy, and it is hilarious. There is a lot of really, really funny lines and jokes, and some of them really do land. And that really pawns off of the relationship between our two main characters here. They have Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn in this movie have a great chemistry. And they go through a lot of good serious character arcs as well with their friendship and how they're changing and whatnot. But I think as well as just like on the comedy aspect, they bounce off of each other really, really well, and they work really, really well together. And I would never think to put these two actors together in a movie like this, but hey, it works. It also is pretty weird hearing like because I've only ever watched Lightning McQueen, Cars. Those are the only Owen Wilson movies I've watched before this one, so it's kind of weird. He doesn't use a different voice for Lightning McQueen or anything, so it's just like hearing Lightning McQueen like swear and doing all this stuff. It was pretty weird, but it's cool. It's cool, and it's definitely like it. There's a lot of boobs. There's a lot of nudity in this movie, especially if you watch the uncorked version. There's a lot of boobs. Woo, boobs, woo. It's pretty good. The female love character, she's played by the same girl that plays Regina George in Mean Girls. If you want to check out my review of Mean Girls, go check that one out. But she acts just exactly like Regina George. I mean, it is uncanny how like close they are in like relationship and stuff like that. Obviously, she's a little tamer in this movie because she's supposed to be a good character, not a villain character, or not a villain, just like an antagonist character. But still, it's pretty good. Also that was a really wild wedding. Because all of the important people just left partway through. Really, really weird. I mean, like, the bride was gone. No, the bride and groom were like the only two that didn't leave. The father stayed. The did not stay. All these other important like family members just left partway through to go play football. It's really weird. I don't think I've ever heard of that happening at a wedding before, but yeah. To be your own, Now I think the part that the uncorked version and also the uncensored version, but really just the movie in general, really hits its stride is at this dinner scene. You watched see Shrek 2, and that's a very chaotic dinner scene. It's a good scene as well. And then they really build it off with this movie. I think they were trying to go maybe the same direction. I don't know. I mean, it was so fucking funny. I mean, there's so much shit that happens just in the dinner scene alone. Vince Vaughn getting a fucking jerked off under the table. All the just out there homophobic comments that the grandma is making, which you do not, which just absolutely out of nowhere catches you off guard. The whole thing with the teardrops making him, fucking sick and whatnot. The other guy, I mean, and it's just bam, 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 just off the bat. It is way unhinged. There's some really funny parts in it, though. And that's where I think the movie really turns from just a slightly outdated comedy to holy shit, this is a top tier, really unhinged leveled movie. I think that's where it really goes. Also, I know they made jokes about the I think his name's Tim, the Tim guy or Tom guy, whatever his name is. They made jokes about him being gay at the dinner scene, right? But I didn't actually think he was gay. I thought that was just like them portraying people, boomers who don't understand that he's just like think that people that like to draw are gay. But then he ends up actually being gay, which was fucking crazy. That was insane. I cannot believe those. And that's like coming straight off the dinner scene. That's coming straight off with Vince Vaughn being tied up in his bed and things done to him. Let's just say that. And then they get that going on. It's just like, oh my God, with the rapid fire, like crazy out there scenes. Oh my Lord. Wow. Yeah, that's where the really movie, I think, in my opinion, really peaks in craziness. I got some other critiques. It's a pretty dick move, in my opinion, to announce that you're getting engaged at someone else's wedding. That also like just happens. Like it's only like a couple of days after the wedding, even, and they just announce that somebody else in the family is getting married. I feel like that's just kind of stealing the thunder, in a way. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a really good move. It seems like a dick move, in my opinion. I also think it's really, really dumb to just tell somebody who just got engaged that you also have feelings for them. That's just like, yeah, I get that they're not. I get that the main characters aren't supposed to be that great of people, but like, do you really expect that to work? I guess in this movie it does because they forced it to happen, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel like something that I think everybody would do. I wouldn't do that, I guess. I don't know. And you think that this movie's going to start winding down. You think we're going to hit the end of the movie soon. And then the Will Ferrell comes in. Okay? Will Ferrell comes in so late in this movie. And he kind of steals the show a little bit. A lot of people think that, I even thought that Will Ferrell was like a much larger character in this movie than he was. He comes in so late in the movie, but he throws in a huge presence. They talk about his character a little bit earlier on in the movie. And then he comes in, just like, Mom, meatloaf. It's my dad's favorite quote. One of my dad's favorite quotes of all time. Mom, meatloaf. And then, plus he crashed a funeral. Who the fuck crashes a funeral, dude? That is just like really low shit, dude. Like, come on. The fuck. And I guess that's kind of the point of his character. But yeah, it's just a really weird to have Will Ferrell come in that late in the film. Because what the fuck, man? Like, he was such a big name actor, and I don't know. I think you could have maybe incorporated him on earlier. He doesn't really fit well with he doesn't interact with Vince Vaughn at all. He does interact with Owen Wilson though, and I don't know, I think they could have worked as well as a good trio, and I think that could have worked too. But I mean, it works out, I guess. And I also really, really like the ending, and here's why. The movie's plot line is pretty predictable. You got these two guys who are thrown in. These two main characters, I guess, that are thrown into a situation that they did not plan for. They are lying about their past, or they're making up stuff, or they're leaving important details about their life out because they know that their love interest would not like it. They would be banished from the group and whatnot. They start to get adapted and liked by the group, and everything starts to go well. And they start liking each other. Then that information that they were either hiding or lying about is revealed and comes out. There's a huge falling out. They're banished from the group, and then they fall into a deep depression. And then what I thought was going to happen at the end of the movie was that they were just going to reconcile the differences and say that they were just going to move on as friends. Everything was going to move on. And the original original intended outcome was not going to happen. And we were just supposed to be okay with that. I don't like those endings, but thankfully in this movie, they chose not to do that. And they chose to get the intended goal. And everybody was, they were just okay with that. I really, 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 really liked that they went that direction, because not a lot of movies do go that direction and choose to do that. But this movie did a really good job at doing that. Yeah, it's kind of shitty to do that at somebody else's wedding, but you know what? That's kind of the point. They coming back together and whatnot. Good kind of turnaround on the character arcs and whatnot as well. So I thought that was really good. And that helped solidify this movie as one of my favorite movies of all time. Wedding Crashers, I was completely under my radar. Like, I knew it was going to be a thing I was going to have to watch when I was getting all the DVDs out and whatnot. I was like, oh, okay, here's Wedding Crashers. I know what Wedding Crashers is, the meatloaf part. It's the only part I knew coming in. Man, this movie is so fucking funny. You have to watch the uncensored version if you do. And I think you will get a good laugh out of it. There's some parts that are really have not aged well, and honestly, the integrity of some of these, it's about crashing weddings. I think honestly, it got me interested to crash a wedding, but then also I realized that I wouldn't want to be involved doing anything near what these people are doing. I think that'd just be really weird, so I will not be doing that. So you think. But for my final score, I have to give this movie a good... I have to give it a 10. I have to give it a 10. The fuck can I not give it a 10? I love this movie. This is a great movie. A lot of great characters, a lot of good actors, too. A pretty stacked lineup for what it is. And really, really good movie. So, like I said, definitely would watch this if you get the chance to. And if you have seen it, I want to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So that's going to do it for this movie review. Stay tuned for much more amazing content, including more movie reviews and other awesome stuff. Until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.